Hello, everybody. Little Big Robots here once again in front of my toy shelf. And today I thought it would be fun to kind of go over a quick Q&A, some information about myself. I think it'd be fun to explain why me as a 47-year-old man is still into toys and collecting and stuff like that. I thought it'd be just kind of nice. It's important to remember that my YouTube channel is really used as a dumping ground for videos and stuff that are they're mostly for archival purposes. Like it's something that 40 years from now, if I'm lucky enough to be alive, I can look back on and enjoy. So this information might be interesting to you or it might not. So stick around till the end and subscribe if you can, because I get a little bit of cash from subscriptions, and I'll actually talk about that in a minute. My background is that I was born in 1974, so yes, that makes me really old. That means I grew up in kind of the prime era of 80s toys. 70s toys, late 70s, early 80s, mid 80s. I have video and pictures of some of my earlier toys. I have a really great picture. Maybe I'll see if I can post it right here of me holding a Boba Fett doll. And then I had the Battlestar Galactica toys. I had the fantastic Cylon ship that shot the missiles that were very dangerous at the time. They actually, I think one of them supposedly a kid choked on one of the missiles. I had that ship. I'm still looking for it, actually. And so I played with toys. I didn't collect them at all. I don't think toy collecting was a thing that early. At least it wasn't that popular back then. So I would play with a toy and move on about it. One of my fondest memories is coming home with two of my older brothers. I have 4 brothers, 2 sisters. So there's 7 kids. And the 2 oldest brothers, next oldest brothers to me, we were close in grade, so we'd hang out and play a lot of stuff. And I remember coming home from school one day, and my mother had bought us all a Yoda figure, on the card, and she set the 3 down, and we got to walk in and see them and open them and play with them. My my 2 older brothers, got rid of theirs, I think, pretty early on. And I kept mine for many, many years, actually, until, I was probably 13 or so. And then one of my older brothers cut the Yoda, cut it apart into pieces. I was so irked about that. I swear I still think I have dreams about it or something. It's very traumatic. So throughout the 80s, early 80s, was when I was in, 10, 11, 12, I had the G.I. Joes. I didn't collect a bunch of them, but my real fond memories are of kind of generic toys I would find at like a local flea market, or toys I would find cheap toys at Toys R Us, Toys R Us back then, if you don't know, because you might have seen it 10 years ago or so, it was not like that. It was more, it wasn't one aisle was all a certain toy. Those companies pay big money at Target and at Toys R Us, places like that, to have an aisle that's all theirs. It was a mix of a lot of toys, and you'd often find some really inexpensive toys, and I'll cover that some more in a minute about my favorite toys. And so I would go there, and I remember picking out really weird little toys, which explains, I think, a lot now about why I'm into kind of odd little lines. I don't do Transformers or G.I. Joe or any of the kind of mainstream stuff. They're really neat toys. I think they've really come a long way, but it's just not my bag. Probably because I grew up on that. But as soon as I really got 12 or 13, I started playing in bands. Played bass at first, and then my brother let me play his drums. And then I discovered girls. And once I discovered girls, it was like all bets were off. That was what I was meant to do with my life. If any of you know what I'm talking about, it's when you're a kid, it's a magical and also overwhelming moment when you realize that you like certain types of people a lot more than others. And then I just kind of hung out and did bands for most of my life. Into the 90s, 94, 95, I joined a band called Little Turkey, and I was still enjoying toys, but I was by no means collecting them. We would go and buy a McFarlane toy or something and use it in like a tabletop role-playing type game. We would play different kinds, Marvel superheroes, stuff like that. But I definitely was not collecting them. But I did have some really good memories of toys. My girlfriend at the time actually knew that I wanted some of those Fisher-Price Knights toys, which I don't have any on the shelf here, but I'll have to. I don't have my really old toys on the shelf here because they're starting to get beat up and stuff. But I'll show a photo of it or whatever. And I remember opening all my gifts on Christmas in our little house we had with all our friends and stuff. And she had hidden the castle out on the front porch, so I went out there to find it. And it was a really fun memory. I can get that castle now. I can still actually find it in a box, unopened, for about $300 on eBay. But I don't think I'll be doing that because I have photos. That's enough for now. And then I just, I never really collected until maybe I met my wife Leela, and probably into the later, 2010. I'm trying to think when I really started getting back into it. So I wasn't a collector my whole life. And now what I do is I collect very specific toy lines, about 10 of them. And I don't really go beyond that. What you're seeing behind me is really the collection. I have a lot of other boxes you can't see. There's some in the other room, some in the garage. But as soon as I started seeing that I was putting more toys away to make more room for more toys, I discovered I didn't really enjoy it as much. I didn't want to buy a toy just to pack it away. Sometimes I'll still do that if it's a particularly special toy. I'll buy it anyway, knowing that I'm not going to display it. But in general, I try to stick to what's on these shelves. If I complete a line, I take that line and I pack it away. I do a video covering it and I pack it away and it's done. So one of the questions I get, not a lot, but I've gotten it before, and I think it would just be an interesting question to answer that I kind of posed to myself. And that's, do you make any money, or how do you make any money from YouTube as a small channel? My history on YouTube is I started out in 2007. My first video was about a video game. You can go look back in my videos and arrange them by date. And I pretty much, it was all about video games, a little tech here and there for probably, until about 2014 or 15, when I stopped writing about games for a job. And then I thought, I'll cover games. I'll become a streamer and stuff, do some of that stuff, but it really wasn't very fun. So if you're wondering how to make money from YouTube, an actual living, it's the same as any other job. It means you have to show up and do several hours of work every day, if not 6 or 7 days a week, because you're your own boss. You have to create that content and you have to get better at it. I have discovered my YouTube channel is not that. My YouTube channel is just for archival reasons, for fun. If people want to watch my videos, it's a side benefit, and I enjoy talking to people through YouTube. But I used to have a lot more. The bulk of my subscribers came from video games. So I have probably 2,700, something like that, subscribers right now at the time of this recording. I have views. I have like 1.5 or 1.6 million, which is nothing, for how long it's been around. So the bulk of my views came from games, and so you'll see now in some of my videos I get anywhere from 30 to 1,000 views in a week or so, depending on the video, whereas before I was getting tens of thousands. So it's really for fun, and I actually really enjoy it as kind of like, I tell people all the time who are like, why are you doing that YouTube thing? And I'm like, well, it's like having a hobby garden. A lot of people my age get into gardening or collecting quilts or whatever. And it's a similar thing. It's a hobby channel. That means I get to watch it grow slowly. I get to tweak little things. It's a really fun little thing. I do 3 videos a week now. Hopefully I'll be able to keep that up. If not, I'll go back down to 2 or even 1 if I'm starting to do longer videos. But that's why I keep the channel, kind of the collection, in these 3 shelves. Is these 3 shelves represent kind of the size I want to keep the channel. If I was ever to really put a lot of work into it and trying to have it be my career, I would be doing so many videos that you kind of would have to be investing a lot of money initially, because you'd have to buy enough toys to cover 3 or 4 videos a week, or you'd have to spend a ton of time making one video very well researched. If you look at a channel like Toy Galaxy, for example, they do long form analysis, discussion, or just informational videos about toy lines, cartoons, that kind of thing. And that's, I think, why they've gotten what appears to be pretty successful, is because they really put a lot of work into that. I have a full-time job, so does my wife. She collects tons of K-pop stuff, and so we always have something going on. So this is really a hobby, but how much do I generally make for it? You can make, at my peak, I was maybe making $100 every month and a half maybe, or something like a month. Now I'm making maybe $30 to $50 a month. So it's nothing, and it's a little money. If you're a kid, it might seem like, oh wow, I can make 50, but it's just a hobby. So you have to kind of consider that if you start to make a channel, especially a toy channel, which is kind of a bit of a niche. So I would consider that. I don't do it for the money, but if you want to subscribe and like and comment and all that stuff, it does help me get a little more money. I might eventually start a Patreon again, or even just a donation things, because people have asked me before, or maybe even a PO box to get, people can send me old toys they want me to review and stuff. That might be fun. But if this is where it were to ever become my career, it'd be because I'm writing a book about toys or something, which is something I'm interested in doing. So that's how YouTube works. If you're not sure how to start one, I'll make a separate video how to start a fun little YouTube channel. So many kids these days want to start one and want to immediately be famous and rich and stuff, and it's like, no, that doesn't happen. And there's a certain way you need to do it to do that. I mean, you might as well want to be an NBA star. You have as many chances, I guess. So good luck there. So I'm going to move on to my favorite toy. I've seen this before. I think sometimes people who happen to come by and view my videos might wonder what I really like. And I had to think a lot about this because I have so many really cool toys, so many toys I really enjoy. I could do one favorite from each line, like my favorite Gunpla design, my favorite Hexagear, my favorite McFarlane toy. I had a toy when I was younger. I'll show a photo right over here of a critter. What would you call it? I think it was a giant suit of armor type thing called Mad Hurricane. Mad Hurricane was just, its arms moved up and down, and so does its leg. So did the legs, but barely. And it was hollow, so it was like a hard plastic like this toy, but it was hollow inside. But I loved the design and the look of that toy so much, how chunky it was, until one day I remember just playing with it, and it must have worn out over time because I was playing a lot with it, and it just broke a hole inside, and I could see that it was hollow. And I think after that I broke it apart into pieces, and how kids are when you're like 10. So I can actually find Mad Hurricane still on eBay. I found him a couple times, but he's usually pretty expensive, and I usually miss it. And then I have a little toy called Pocket Power. I've done a video on it before. I'll post it up around here somewhere. It might pop up in the corner. And it's a little toy line where I think there are 6 or 9 of them, 10 of them. And you would have everything you needed to play with the toy inside the little black, kind of like a little credit card sized toy. So in this, the one I'm talking about was a skeleton one, and you pop the skeleton out, and it has a stand built into the Pocket Power thing. So that probably started my love for toys that actually included a stand. But if I had to choose, after all I know, and right now, it's hard, but I'm gonna have to go with this Warhammer 40,000, McFarlane's Warhammer 40,000, the blue Marine, not the red ones, but the blue one. And I've covered them before, so I'll post that link. You can also just search for it in my videos. In fact, these are all the other ones I have, and I have 4 or 5 more coming. But right now with the shipping delays, it's taking forever. But the reason I love this so much is not that I love Warhammer 40,000 that much. As a matter of fact, I think Warhammer 40,000 is pretty problematic in a million ways, but they've gotten better about it. The lore has gotten better in how they talk about certain things. But this toy, if I were to go back in time and bring this to 10-year-old Beau and show him this toy, he would be head over heels for this toy. I mean, you can see the size of it. It's 7-inch, but it's, to me, one of the perfect sizes for like an action figure type toy, because it's got a weight to it. It's not super posable, but I think that posing toys, a lot of people, that's the hobby of the toy thing for them, is posing them cool and taking photos, which I love that stuff. But I think posability gets kind of overblown a lot. It doesn't have to be more than almost a real basic pose to be a really cool toy. I don't need it to be able to kick its legs behind its head and stuff like that. At the same time, it has to be able to hold at least one relatively cool looking pose. And these guys just standing there look amazing. They look absolutely amazing. It's the heft of the toy. It's the design of the suit is so it's just fun to look at. It looks like a tough thing. You know, you could see it taking bullets and, you know, and all that kind of stuff. And even though I'm not a violent toy, I know it sounds weird, but like a gun toy guy, I don't collect the guns. I don't do anything with the guns. These guys look just like they're ready for battle. So fantastic toy. What's also cool about these, and you can see down here I have 3 or 4 unpainted ones, you can take them apart pretty easily and wash them, chip them, whatever you want to do, and they look 100 times better. I've done it right now to one of them, so I'm getting ready to, at some point, to do probably all of them. I'll save a couple in boxes that are kind of special just for the future. But man, what a great toy. If you've never bought one of these, go buy one. You can get them for 15 bucks off of McFarlane now. You can't get the blue one anymore, so I'm looking for the blue one because that's my favorite color. Yes, I can repaint them, but the blue one, just how it comes, just feels, this is just such a good toy, such a good toy. All right, so next I wanted to talk a little bit about the problems I have with toy collecting and what kind of issues I have with toy collecting, stuff you might want to watch out for. Toy collecting is like collecting anything. It's Beanie Babies or art or K-pop merchandise or clothes or relationships, whatever you're into collecting. There's always a point where the collection or the hobby either A, becomes more like a job. It's requiring so much time and money or dedication that it's really not fun anymore. It becomes more like just a thing you have to do. Not that you want to do, but you have to do. And collecting can become that very easily. And then B, it's very easy with toy collecting in particular to get in over your head. I've seen it a million times. Any one of us toy collectors who go on like the subreddit and stuff or forums or whatever, Facebook groups, wherever you get your toy group at, see all the time somebody announce, hey, I've got to sell my entire collection. I need some money real quick. Hospital bills, you know, God forbid, that kind of thing. And they end up selling, you know, their $10,000 in toys for like $2,000. And it's a really sad thing to see. So I don't like how with toy collecting, so many people are not very specific about what they collect. Again, bringing up Toy Galaxy as an example, which is a fantastic channel. He has a good video over there they made talking about when he got rid of his collection, when he first got rid of it. And kind of, it seemed I haven't watched it in a while, but it seemed as though he was saying it was a real relief to kind of start over from scratch. I can understand that feeling. It's like when you've cleared off some space on your shelf, and now you see right here, for example, you can't really see, but I've got space down here where I built all these model kits, and I'm thinking, first thought is, I'm going to fill that up with other model kits, which kind of defeats the point. But it doesn't defeat the point. The point of it, I should say, is that as you collect, you should really be able to take time with each toy or whatever you're collecting and enjoy it. The idea here is not to buy in bulk and just open them, run, you know. And that's why I do reviews on this YouTube channel that is not very large at all, is because it makes me slow down and look at the toy and figure out what I enjoy about it. Toys to me are really, I've talked about this before, but they really are sacred objects to me. I think that they're just like a gun is an object of a certain, it gives off a certain aura or feeling, or anybody who sees one, it's a bit creepy when you see them in real life, you know, like strapped on somebody here in Texas. We'll walk in a coffee shop or something. That in that same way, on the opposite end is a toy. You'll rarely hear somebody talk about a favorite toy or a toy in their life with a negative, you know, feeling about that. It's almost always that was the happy spot in their life, and so because of that, I'm try to enjoy the toys as I purchase them. I try to kind of buy what I want, what I think is cool, but also recognize that if I bought everything that I think is cool, I would quickly, you know, find myself all my cards charged up, and you know, that kind of, it's just not fun. Then it becomes kind of a, not a hobby, but more of a hassle. So that's not what I really enjoy about toy collecting. I also don't enjoy how ready toy collectors seem to want to just do what everybody else, what everybody else is collecting. They don't really explore other lines. In other words, it's the same with movies or music. I've always been into music, and I find that it's easier these days, but it's kind of the same case as it was back in the past, whereas indie groups didn't get as much radio play, or nowadays it would be streams or whatever. And it's the same with toys. We need to support indie lines, unique lines, you know, lines from other countries, stuff that innovates. So I occasionally I get upset that I scroll around in all the different toy groups I'm a member of, and it's the same Marvel or DC. That if people are enjoying themselves, that's fine. Those are great toys, but I would like to see more celebration of small. There's literally small independent toy makers who are, you know, literally a team of 1 or 2 or 10, and they make amazing toys like Alternation, and you don't see people really give them as much of a chance as they should. I know that somebody asked about a month ago how much I spend on toys, and I was hemming and hawing about putting an exact number or whatever, because I do have a budget I place for myself generally, which is around $150 to $200 a month, which sounds like a lot in some cases and sounds like nothing in other cases. That is not a bad amount. I can afford it and stuff like that. But even though I could probably do 3 or 4 or something, you have to put a cap on everything when you're collecting. If you don't place a cap on stuff, like I said, it will always come down to no longer being a fun thing and being more of a job. And for me, that allows me to keep up with my 10 or so lines I collect in my video creation without it becoming overwhelming to where I just have to box them up and put them on a shelf somewhere. So I'll get to that point with a lot of different toys. I'll end up finishing collecting a line. Let's say, for example, I got all the McFarlane Warhammer toys. What I would do then is I would make a good sum up, and a video that summed up the entire line, and then maybe pack it away, really compact it down, put it in a small box, or sell them or give them away. I have a bunch of extra little toys I might eventually give away to a small collector or to a kid who needs a toy or something. But generally, I don't spend as much as I've seen people spend. There's a guy I follow on YouTube, I'm not going to say who. He has to be spending $500 to $1,000 or something a month on that stuff. Each toy he shows is like $100, and unless he works in the industry or something, which I think he does, to me, that would drive me insane. I would eventually become kind of depressed about how much money I spent on something like that. It's just not worth it to me when you're collecting for the sake of acquiring and not collecting for the sake of enjoying the item you're collecting. That's the ultimate goal, in my opinion. So that's about how much I spend. It's not much, but YouTube will pay me a little bit, and I can take a little chunk out of that. It's not enough to really worry about it. But I would like to even get that number down some more, where to me the YouTube channel is, like I said, like a hobby garden where you can become more efficient, more knowledgeable. It would take you a month to successfully propagate a plant or whatever. Now it takes you a couple weeks, that kind of thing. I'd like to get faster, more efficient, better videos, but that don't become a job where I'm just sitting at it. I sit at a computer all day anyway. Why would I want to do that for a video? It's just not fun. So, you know, you might spend far less or you might spend a lot more, but you have to ask yourself if what you're spending is sustainable. You know, if you can still live and pay your bills and have some money in the bank, or if it's starting to become like a problem. I've seen a lot of people jokingly, but it points to the problem when they say, oh, I just got a new card and I filled it up immediately with toy purchases. And I'm like, you've got to be careful with that stuff. So, but I really enjoy it. I love the hobby. Really enjoying this channel now that I'm back at it kind of more. I lost most of my views from my subscribers and stuff when I switched from games, so I kind of rebranded into Little Big Robots. But I actually really enjoy that. I like that kind of clearing of the slate and starting over. So leave any comments if you have any. If you have stuck through this video, you have more patience than I do. But leave any comments or questions if you ever want. If you ever leave a question, maybe what I'll do is do one of these kind of Q&A toy videos every month. I'll just gather together the questions and answer a few of them. I think that'd be fun. I really enjoyed talking with people in the comments, and I've met a ton of really cool people. It's fun to see people in my toy videos that I saw years ago in my game videos, and they're still there. So hi to you all. You know who you are. YouTube is a fun. It can be a cesspool of a website. It can lead to a lot of problems, but if you have your own channel, it's like having your own little world. And I really enjoy that aspect of it. I kind of enjoy the aspect of it like it's a little toy shop. My videos now, it's like my little toy shop, you know, and I even toyed with featuring a toy and then having a link to where you can buy it. Not that I'm selling it, but make it like you're doing, you know, you're going on a little shopping trip to a toy. It's just a really fun, enjoyable hobby. And so if you decide to get into it, let me know so I can go check out your stuff and come subscribe to you. But 90-something% of you, 90% of you, something like that, don't subscribe to my channel and watch my videos. So if you want to subscribe, that'd be great. Just because I want to get to 3,500 by the end of this year. I think it'd be really fun. Just a fun goal. So please do. Have a good one, everybody. I'll talk to you later, though. Bye-bye.